Don't obsess, the sun will rise again. A Zen story about letting go and acceptance. In the mountains where time seems to stand still, where Zen wisdom is carried in the whispers of the wind and the murmur of the streams, there lived a monk who learned the most important lesson of his life without seeking it. This mindfulness story reminds us that emotional detachment does not mean not feeling. It means understanding that everything flows like the seasons. It is a story about accepting impermanence, about how anxiety and obsession are born when we cling to things that slip away like water between our fingers. Through 8 short chapters, you will discover a Buddhist teaching that has transformed hearts for centuries. No matter how dark the night may seem, tomorrow the sun will rise again. This is an invitation to let go, to breathe, and to trust in the natural cycle of life. Chapter 1. Kenji's Garden. Kenji had dedicated 3 years of his life to cultivating the temple's garden. Every stone was placed with millimetric precision, every cherry tree planted at the exact moment of the lunar calendar. Visitors traveled from distant cities just to admire that masterpiece of balance and beauty. The master monk watched Kenji from afar, noticing how his hands trembled slightly whenever a leaf fell outside the rake's path, how his eyes obsessively scanned every corner at dawn and dusk. "It's perfect," the visitors would say. "Not yet," Kenji always answered, finding invisible flaws. One autumn afternoon, the master sat beside him in silence, watching the clouds drift lazily over the temple. Chapter 2. The Storm. That night, the wind began to howl with a fury no one had expected. Kenji stayed awake, listening to the trees creak and the temple tiles fly away one by one. His heart pounded at the thought of the garden. At dawn, once the storm finally passed, Kenji ran barefoot toward his beloved creation. What he found stole his breath. Trees uprooted, the overflowing pond covering stone paths, broken branches scattered everywhere. 3 years of labor undone in a single night. He fell to his knees in the wet soil. His hands sank into the mud as tears of frustration streamed down his face. "Everything is destroyed," he whispered. "Everything I built, gone." The master appeared behind him, walking slowly through the ruins. Chapter 3. The Master's Question. "Tell me, Kenji," said the master calmly, "how many sunrises have you missed while admiring your garden?" Kenji looked up, confused by the question. "I don't understand, master. While you cared for every stone, every branch, how many times did you truly watch the sun rise? How many times did you simply breathe without worrying about the next leaf you had to prune?" Kenji remained silent. He couldn't remember the last time he had watched the sunrise without thinking of his chores. "Your garden was beautiful," the master continued, "but it had imprisoned you. You lived in fear that something would ruin it, that it was never perfect enough. Is that life? Or is it a cell you built for yourself?" A soft breeze carried away a few more leaves. Chapter 4. Obsession Revealed. In the days that followed, Kenji could neither eat nor sleep. He walked among the garden's ruins, mentally calculating how long it would take to rebuild, what he had done wrong, how he could have protected it better. Other monks watched him with concern. Some tried to comfort him, but their words never reached him. He was trapped in a cycle of thoughts spinning nonstop. If only I had reinforced that tree. If only I had built higher walls. If only. One morning, the master found him in the same spot, staring at a fallen cherry tree. "Do you know what day it is?" the master asked. Kenji shook his head. "It has been 7 days since the storm, 7 sunrises, 7 sunsets, and you have seen none of them. You are still living in that stormy night." Chapter 5. The Silent Walk. The master extended his hand. "Come, walk with me." They climbed a mountain path Kenji had never explored, always too busy with the garden. After hours of silence, they reached a clearing overlooking the valley. "Look," said the master. Kenji saw the temple far below, tiny like a miniature. Beyond it, fields and villages stretched as far as the eye could see. "You see that flooded rice field?" the master continued. "The farmer did not stay weeping over the water. He planted something else. You see that house that lost its roof? Its dwellers did not give up. They repaired it and reinforced it. Life did not stop because of the storm." Something inside Kenji began to shift. Chapter 6. The Bamboo's Lesson. As they descended, the master stopped before a bamboo grove that had survived the storm. "Why do you think these bamboos still stand when your ornamental trees fell?" Kenji examined the flexible stalks. "Because they bent with the wind," he answered slowly. "They didn't resist. They adapted." "Exactly," the master smiled. "Your garden was rigid, perfect, inflexible. Any change was a threat. But nature doesn't work that way. Nature flows, adapts, accepts. A truly wise garden is not one that never changes, but one that dances with every season." For the first time in days, Kenji felt the tightness in his chest loosen. "I have been fighting against the nature of things," he murmured. "You have been fighting against yourself," the master gently corrected. "Against life itself." Chapter 7. Reborn at Dawn. The next morning, Kenji rose before dawn, not thinking of the garden. He climbed a hill near the temple and simply sat there, waiting. When the sun rose over the mountains, painting the sky pink and gold, Kenji cried. But these tears were different. They were not of loss, but of awe. He had forgotten how beautiful the world was beyond his tiny creation. He breathed deeply, filling his lungs with fresh air. For the first time in years, he felt no urge to control, protect. He simply existed, whole in his imperfection. The master appeared beside him, as if he knew he would be there. "Do you see now?" he asked. "The sun rises every morning, no matter what happened the night before. It does not obsess over past storms. It simply rises." Chapter 8. The New Garden. Kenji returned to where his perfect garden once stood. But this time, he brought no blueprints or precise measurements. Only seeds in his pockets and a smile on his face. He began to clean, but without rushing. He planted where the soil felt inviting. He allowed some weeds to grow. Their flowers attracted butterflies. When a stone path turned crooked, he left it that way, finding beauty in its imperfection. Visitors still came to the temple, and some asked what had happened to Kenji's famous garden. "It's here," he answered, pointing around. "But now it's a living garden, not a museum." The master watched from afar, nodding in approval. Kenji had learned that true perfection is not found in controlling every detail, but in letting go and allowing life to flow. One afternoon, as Kenji watered wildflowers that had sprouted on their own, a young monk approached. "Master Kenji, the wind is blowing strongly. Shouldn't we protect the plants?" Kenji smiled, remembering who he once was. "Tomorrow the sun will rise again," he replied. "And if some plants fall, others will grow in their place. That is the nature of all things." The young monk didn't fully understand, but Kenji knew that one day he would. Each person must walk their own path toward letting go. That night, Kenji slept deeply for the first time in years, dreaming not of perfect gardens or devastating storms, but of the sun rising again and again, eternal and unbothered, reminding him that everything passes and everything returns. Obsession is born when we forget that life is change. Kenji learned that clinging to perfection is how we build our own prison. True peace arrives when we accept that storms will come, that our gardens will change, that nothing stays the same. But there is one thing that never changes: the promise of a new sunrise. Whatever you have lost today, whatever storm has shaken you, tomorrow the sun will rise again, bringing a new chance to begin, to release, to live without the weight of obsession. And you, what perfect garden must you let go of in order to see the sunrise again?